fact that I'm like scrunched up in this corner so y'all don't see what the rest of the state of my room looks like, it's pretty scary. Hi guys, it's Misty and welcome back to my channel. This video is my weekly what sold on eBay for the week of March 30th through April 5th, 2020. My sales were up this week, and it's kind of my sales were up one week, down the next week, up one week, down the next week, that kind of whole thing. But they were up 36.7%. I honestly, this week, I didn't really list anything. I didn't list anything new. I did, however, go through and end some old listings and hit sell similar and updated them and switched the titles around a little bit and brighten the pictures. So I did do that, but I didn't list a whole lot of new things this week. This just wasn't a good week for me to be listing, but my sales were up, and I did sell a lot of things that I've had for a very long time. Now, I sold very, very little big dollar things. I sold a lot of small sales and older sales, but it all added up. So don't discount the making the little small sales, because they can add up. I did run a 20% off sale. So if you're able to do that, that's a good idea too. People like to see a sale. They like a bargain, especially nowadays. So if you can I promote all of my listings 1%, just 1%, never any more than that. And I do run sales to get rid of some older inventory. So let's go ahead and I will show you what I sold this week. I'm going to go ahead and get started in the Sellers Hub, and you can see here what my sales were. My total sales were $1,117.72. My sales were up 36.7% compared to last week. So it was pretty steady. Sales are happening every day still, you know, in this day and age and in this climate. I've been selling a lot of Hot Wheels, and again, I talked a little bit about this last week. And you know, when you can get these vintage Hot Wheels, they're easy to look up, they're easy to list, they do sell pretty quickly, most of them not for a big profit, but if you get them in a lot, then you know you can still make your money back on them. And I did run a 20% off sale last week. This one is a Hot Wheels Ultra Rods Red Liner Gold UH wheels made in Hong Kong, and this was in near mint condition. And you can see here on the bottom of a Hot Wheel, it pretty much gives you a lot of the information that you're going to need in your listing. So that sold for $9.10, and the buyer paid shipping. This is an item that I picked up. This was in a box of things that I got from an auction. It was new old stock, so I went ahead and tried it. It did take quite a bit long time to sell, but I did, you know, get it for pretty much for free. So I did make $6.40 on a 20% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. And what these were is they were just brackets for a, what was it, for a mini blind or curtain, outside brackets for, one of those roll window shades. Made from Sears. It was a lot of 5 of them, sold for $6.40. Not a great sale, but they were free. The next thing is a cute little vintage tea bag holder with a little teapot and apple flowers. It was made in Japan, very retro, very kitschy. Those are good keywords to use. It did sell on a 20% off sale for $7.99, and the buyer paid shipping. Another Hot Wheel. This is a red line. You can tell that it's red line because of the red lines that are on the wheels. Some of them are really pretty good resale value on these. This one was a Chase Sand Crab Blue Red Line Real Riders. This Real Riders is a line of the Hot Wheels that I do sell pretty quickly. This one sold for $13.73, and the buyer paid shipping. And they all do ship first class. I just wrapped them. I put them in a baggie, put them one layer of bubble wrap around it, and put it in a small 5x5x5 box. The next item is another Hot Wheel. This one is another of the Real Riders. This one is a Chase Fished and Chipped Green Real Riders. It sold for $10.20 on a 20% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is something else that I've had for quite a while. I think I picked this up for 99 cents or so at Goodwill. I just thought it was interesting. It's a Brownie Downing trinket tray or trinket plate, small little tray. It had this Bonnie bagpiper. It was made by J.H. Weatherby. from Scotland. You can see here, I looked up all of the information that I could on it. Look at that cute little bagpiper. It's so cute. On the back of it, it was made by Browning Downing Ceramics. This sold for $13 with a 20% off sale. I did do free shipping on this. It did ship first class. The next item is a Disney Infinity Pirates of the Caribbean figure set with this crystal here and 3 cards. Again, from another big lot that we picked up at a yard sale last summer. We've been, listing these and selling them, and they go with the Disney Infinity playset. The next item is a vintage Takashi, I'm going to say this wrong, Takashi, Japan, chicks and eggs art pottery. Cute little eggs, these little chicks and the eggs. Really cute for Easter table setting. They were in excellent condition. They sold on a 20% off sale for $13.60, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a 1989 vintage Indiana historic motor vehicle license plate. With the yellow and red, and I just kind of put man cave. Just, it's good to put some different adjectives that people can use these for. This one sold for $12 and on a 20% off sale, and buyer paid $5.30 shipping. Then we have a Sesame Street Oscar the Grouch in the trash can plush stuffed Muppet applause. It had the tags on it. Really, about the only time I pick up plush is when they do have the original tags on them. This one did have a few little spots and stains. I did note that in the listing. It does have some discoloration on the trash can. Oscar himself was in excellent condition. It was his trash can that had some of the issues on it. But this guy sold for $10.69, and the buyer paid shipping. Gosh, this is something that I've had for probably 3 years. Just now sold it this last week. Is a Hallmark Mugmates vintage 1985 mug. It said Study Buddy, and it had the little cover right there. I just kind of put college gift graduation, just a Study Buddy college dorm gift, keep the hot coffee and the good ideas flowing. Finally sold this mug for $11.44, and the buyer paid shipping. This is an example of something that I've had for several years. I've ran it on sales before. It didn't sell. I've marked it up, or I've marked it down. I've played around with the listing, and this is one thing that I did over the week, just brighten up the picture a little bit with the eBay photo tool on your mobile device. It brightened up the background a little bit, and it did sell. So finally sold for $11.44, and the buyer paid shipping. This is a 1964 calendar. It was from the St. Joseph Family Almanac. It was from a state pharmacy, or the state pharmacy in Indiana. Never been used. Had a lot of really cool advertisements on it, and it sold for $14.92, and the buyer paid shipping. This next little item, horrible picture. I probably should have used a black background on this because it's not showing up very well. It is this vintage Bascal aluminum butter dish. We had the lid. It was very mid-century modern. This is just an aluminum, sort of like the aluminum canisters, but this was a little butter dish. It had a little bit of a pink hue to it. You can't really tell that in these pictures. The pictures are not very good, but it did sell for $12.79, and the buyer paid shipping. This next item is another Disney Infinity lot. This is Toy Story, Jessie, Buzz, and Woody, the crystal and the figures. Now this is actually, it showed up in my sales, but the buyer did request to cancel this order, and I did. So this is actually still available in my store. It was relisted, but it did figure in with my number. So this is still available. It did not sell, but it was still in my figure, so I went ahead and included it. The next item is a Hot Wheel. It was this Chase Classics, another Real Riders, Deco Delivery. This was a cool color. It sold for $15.80 on a 20% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a vintage 1998 Warner Brothers Looney Tunes Tweety Bird insulated travel coffee cup. This sold within a couple weeks time. I picked it up for 99 cents at Goodwill. It sold for $15.25, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a vintage gold seal cayenne pepper spice label spice tin. This was a cardboard tin. You can see kind of here along the top here was cardboard, and it had the paper label wrapped around it. The colors on it are really, really neat. I love the font and the gold seal label. It sold for $18 on a 20% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a Mark's number 490, wind up steamer train, steam engine. This was not lithograph, it was plastic. Sold for $15.19 and the buyer paid shipping. Now, as with all of these trains that I do sell, I have said this before, but in the listing, I do put that it is untested. I don't have the ability to test these, so I want to make sure that my buyer knows that this is untested. I don't know if it works. It does have dust and scuffs, but it is a sound piece. And try to get a picture of the bottom so the buyer can see it. I do sell these often. They can bring a little bit of money. Just have to make sure that you're not overpaying for them. Some of them are better than others, so it is always important to look up comps if you see some of these Marks trains. Another Hot Wheel. This one sold for $19.50 on a 20% off sale. We had originally had it listed for $24.37, so this one was a little bit more of a rare one. It was another of the Real Riders. It was a classic Chase Custom 59 Cadillac wagon, and we say that it's loose, meaning that it is not in the packaging. Is a 1/64 scale, and this one sold for $19.50. Again, short and sweet listing, really good, nice, crisp, and clear pictures, and this sold rather quickly. The next item is a vintage Fenton paneled daisy blue satin art glass pedestal, toothpick holder, urn. Some say it's a toothpick holder. Some people say it's a votive candle holder. It could be either, but it did sell for $18.50 and the buyer paid shipping. This one was neat because it did have the original price sticker and the original Fenton label. The next item is a vintage Slaveka, which again, you know me, saying words wrong, but it's a lusterware cat handle, small picture, little 5-inch with, it was white and black. It was very Art Deco, and it had this really neat cat on the back and with his little striped tail. You see that his little handle is the tail. Very cute. Sold for $15.19 on a 20% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. Let me see if I can show you the label here. Yeah, it's basically a Czechoslovakia piece, and pretty collectible. This one I did pick up at Goodwill. You can see there the telltale sign of the Goodwill Sharpie mark. I had this in the shop for a little while. It just wasn't going to sell in my local market, and I knew that it would sell better online, so I had it listed for a couple months. The next item is this Mats Johansson Purple Orchid Flower Art Glass Paperweight. It was signed and it was labeled. I picked this up for, gosh, I want to say $1.99 at Goodwill. Probably one of the last Goodwill trips that I went to before, you know, all of the quarantine started. I knew that it had issues. It had some surface scratches, but it was just pretty. I just liked it. I don't know. I just, something was telling me to buy it. So I did, and I sold it for $16.96 on a 20% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item, these have just been in my little collection of kitty cats. This was a very, just a cool vintage mid-century modern, the brass cat ring holder, and then this other brass cat here that had like a teal paint to it. I had these, just like I said, I was cleaning out something and I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and sell these. The set of these sold for $14.99 on a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a vintage yellow enamel teapot. Picked this up at an estate sale for a couple dollars. It was the OTO Japan. Let me see if I can find the label. There we go. And very, very pretty enamel pot. It had some wear on the inside, you can see there, and it sold for $19.20 on a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a vintage pottery planter. It's a little bird on a tree stump, very mid-century modern, and I sometimes will put farmhouse. People do like to use birds and other different kinds of pottery in the farmhouse decor, so I will sometimes use that as a keyword. And it sold for $13.59 on a 20% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. Oh my gosh, I sold a pair of shoes? Well, this was a pair of Stuart Weitzman black suede perforated, there's my word, horse bit buckle heels. They were size 6.5, small size, and what I mean by horse bit is that little design right there on the front of them, and that you can see the perforated holes there. These were in really, I don't think that they've ever been worn. They were in excellent condition. They sold for $27.38, and the buyer paid shipping. I did pick these up, as with most shoes that I have bought, for $4.50 at Goodwill. The next item is a set of 4 Pumpkin Hollow David Carter Brown Halloween 8 1/4 inch plates. These I picked up from Goodwill. I just liked the graphics on them. They're very vintage looking. I love the cat and the pumpkin. I think that they would be really neat on a display, like as a background of a shelf. I had these for a little while. They probably would sell better during, closer to Halloween, but I still go ahead and list. I list all holidays now. I don't wait to hold on to things to list them later. This sold for $24.38 for the lot of 4 of them on a 25% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is vintage cast aluminum foundry bookends. They were this pair of bookends. They're metal worker. It's a pouring scene, very mid-century. I had these for in the shop for quite a while. I did bring them home to list them online, and they did sell for $26 on a 20% off sale, and the buyer paid shipping. Okay, this next item, I still have a couple more pieces from this line. This is something that I will not pick up again. I bought these for 99 cents each at Goodwill, and they are this Homer Laughlin Seville, which is the design. This design that's on here, restaurant wear salad plates. So these were smaller plates. They were salad plates with a zigzag design. You can see here the bottom is Homer Laughlin. I thought that these might do well. They were restaurant wear for one, and I like the colors on them. They looked, kind of a mid-century-esque, but they were kind of a pain to ship. It took a lot of bubble wrap to ship them securely. So that's something that you do have to take into consideration when you're buying things that are breakable, because you are putting your own supplies, your bubble wrap when you're packing peanuts and your boxes and that kind of stuff. So this isn't something that I would buy again, although they're a very cool piece. But they did sell for $21.50, and the buyer did pay shipping. So a lot of Smurfs, like a lot of Smurfs. This whole lot of Smurfs sold on the global shipping program, which is how I ship things overseas. Is 1970s and 80s vintage Peo Schleg Smurf miniature PVC toy figures. There was a lot of 22 of these Smurfs. They sold for $35.50, and the buyer paid shipping. And they're just various Smurfs. These were the ones that were kind of I don't want to say the misfits. We couldn't really find a lot of them, so we just kind of decided we were just going to gather them all together and sell them. And we kind of took pictures in groupings so the customer could see them a little bit close up. The next item is these vintage ornate brass doorknob faceplates. There's a matching set of 2 with the keyhole. They're reclaimed, sold for $29.99, and the buyer paid shipping. You can see here they're brass. I love selling vintage hardware. The hardest part about selling this hardware is coming up with some keywords for your title. So you can see here, I'm just kind of throwing some words out. They didn't have a maker's mark on them, so you're just kind of being creative to get these, recognized in an eBay search. But vintage hardware, reclaimed hardware does sell. Finally sold this other Afghan, yay! I sold the other granny square one that had really bright colors on it really pretty quickly. This one is a granny square with the red and black floral design, and it sold for $35.50, and the buyer paid shipping. The next item, this was something that my son just gave me last night to list for him. Well, he did the draft. He did all the work. I just listed it on my eBay store, and it's this Corsair Vengeance LPX 8 gigabyte. It's a RAM stick. I don't know much more about it. He sold it we sold it for $35, and the buyer paid shipping. This was something that he had upgraded in his computer. He is very fanatical about keeping the boxes for things, which is really kind of brilliant, because this wasn't a big box. You can see here, he just kept everything, and so I think it probably helped him sell it, the fact that he had it still in the original box. And he short and sweet. He learned to keep his listing short and sweet from me. I think, maybe, hopefully, we'll just say that. And it sold overnight for $35, and buyer paid shipping. This was the sale that surprised me this week. This is a Ringling Brothers Barnum & Bailey Discovery Bay vintage poster puzzle, brand new sealed. I picked this up at Goodwill for 99 cents. It was I looked up comps for this. I saw it was going for a decent price, and so I went ahead and picked it up. And I know that this is the time and age that people are really wanting to buy puzzles, so that might have had something to do with it. But it sold for my full asking price of $40, and the buyer paid shipping. So that was That was a great sale. It was sealed. I typically will only buy puzzles. Well, I will only buy puzzles when they're sealed. But they, they can sell really well, and they're so easy to list, and they're so easy to ship. So I love selling puzzles. This next item is a vintage Fisher-Price Talkie Parrot pull toy. It was number 698. The numbers are listed on them. Where is his number at? Somewhere on here. We'll find it. You can see underneath his chin, I think, is where his number is. Yeah, right there. 698, made in the USA, this wooden pull toy. It was complete. It had its little pull string, which is odd. Usually they're broken off, and had its tail feathers. It sold for $65.50 and the buyer paid shipping. The next item is a vintage 5-piece Chromex spun aluminum kitchen canister set, and it had the coveted grease can. Everyone wants the grease can. You can sell the grease can by itself. The grease can is typically always missing from these sets because, well, they held grease and they got yucky and gross, and people said, I'm throwing that thing away because it's nasty, gross, and disgusting. Well, this one was very clean. You can see here the strainer was very, very clean in it. So the whole canister set did sell on a 20% off sale for $52.48, and the buyer paid shipping. And the last item that sold was this original Fresh Up Freddy 7-Up rubber squeak toy from 1959. It's this 7-Up advertisement item. Now, Fresh Up Freddy was a icon or a mascot that's the 7-Up bottling company did use for a short period of time in the 50s. So it is a pretty collectible piece. And this I had in the shop sitting on a shelf forever. It's something that Dad had picked up and he paid very little for. It was dirty. He cleaned it up. I mean, it was still in a little bit rough shape. You can see here the 7-Up bottle had some wear to it, and the white on his shirt was a little faded. But this is a rare toy. And you can see here, I did have it originally listed for $165. I did do a 20% off sale. It did sell for $132.40, and the buyer paid shipping. This did sell through the global shipping program, and I just have to ship it to Kentucky. So the global shipping program is one way that you can broaden your seller market to sell worldwide. All right, so I mean, like I said, I did have a lot of lower dollar sales, but they do add up, and so I'm okay with that. My sales were $1,117.72. My sales were up 36.7%, and I sold 38 items. So, like I said, I didn't list a lot. I listed just a couple things, but I did rework some of my old listings, which is definitely something, it's a strategy that you can definitely use. If you maybe don't have the inventory to list, go ahead and look through some of those older listings and, zhuzh them up a little bit, make them a little fancier. Give them, switch those titles around a little bit. Make sure that you are using some adjectives in your titles. Be creative and think of some words that you can better use to describe your item in a title. And make sure that you use up that all those characters that you can in your title as much as possible. I think that my most surprising sale this week was probably that puzzle that sold for $40. I mean, I knew it was a rare puzzle. It was a one that was a little bit harder to find, and it was sealed. But that one surprised me a little bit. That was probably the thing that surprised me the most. The little 7-Up guy I knew was worth what I had sold. He was actually worth more than what I sold him for. I was surprised that he sold in like today's climate, but I figured that he would sell for about that much because he's a little bit rare. He's a rarer bird. He did ship overseas, and sometimes those sales happen. They don't happen very often. When they do, they are pretty exciting. I hope that you guys are just still plugging away. I know that it's very, very difficult, but just being able to work from home and get some listings up, and go clean out your closets, find some stuff that you're wanting to get rid of, and just keep working and keep getting your mind off of the tragic events that are happening in the world right now. So I hope that you are able to stay home and stay safe and keep on trucking, keep on plugging it away. Eventually things will get better, and then you will have a whole shop full of things that you have spent all this time listing, and you'll feel so proud of yourself. So don't give up. Keep on listing. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you please give it a thumbs up, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in the next video.